Is it worth it to put a flywheel weight on a YZ250 two-stroke? I got this 04 and I'm gonna put one on here because I'm a trail rider. I don't race motocross. I want a bike that has smoother power. It stalls less likely and just gets better traction, something that's easier to ride. So in this video, I'm gonna show you the before and after what I think of adding a flywheel weight to it. So what is a flywheel weight? It doesn't change the power, the torque or horsepower of the bike. All it's doing is adding more weight to it. So essentially, when you're revving up the engine, it takes longer because it has to rotate more mass. But then when you let off the throttle, it's gonna slow down slower. So it's gonna take longer to slow back down. So in theory, with this stock lightweight engine, it's gonna rev up quickly, which is good for racing if you have good traction. But for trail riding, where if you're riding in slippery conditions like here, in Arizona, or it's wet out in the woods, that quick revving engine, it's gonna spin up, spin the tire. You're gonna lose control a lot more easily, and you're more likely to stall the engine. So my first thoughts of the stock bike are, yeah, it has pretty quick revving power, low end right off of idle. The power, the torque is pretty good for a two-stroke motocross bike, because typically you think of two-strokes super snappy, no bottom end power. They're like a light switch. But this YZ250, if you've ridden one, you know that it has decent low-end torque and pretty good mid-range power, but not quite as good as like a 300 enduro bike. And then yes, it does rev quicker, so it also means that it revs back down quicker. So yeah, it's more likely to stall if you're riding at low RPM, because I like to ride right off idle, use that torque without slipping the clutch or slipping it as little as possible. Letting the bike do the work. So I like to ride in that low to mid-range RPM, and I only get it up in the high RPM if I need to, like on a straightaway or if I have a long hill to get up to. So all you got to do for this bike, it's really easy to swap out or add on a flywheel, as long as you don't need a extended stator cover, and even then it should be pretty easy. But I just got a cheap $40 flywheel weight. I believe it was 11 ounces. You just take off the stator cover, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws. Then you need something to hold the engine. You can put in the spark plug hole. You can use the old rag in the chain trick. But for me, I just use a powerful impact, and that buzzed the nut right off. And then you need to use a flywheel puller. That'll pop the flywheel right off. And then putting the new flywheel, adding on the flywheel weight, it just slides right on, and then it's just 2 screws that go in from the backside. I use medium strength Loctite because I do not want that falling off. Then you just put everything back together, torque it back up, put the cover back on, and you're good to go. So what I noticed after, I noticed right away that it does have more luggability. And that just means that I can ride it right off idle without worrying about stalling as easily. It does still stall, especially if your jetting is a little bit off, but it is definitely smoother right off idle, just throughout the RPM range, but definitely the low to mid range. It's smoother, slower revving. It still doesn't feel slow, but it hooks up a lot better. It gets better traction, so you're able to go just as fast, if not faster, without having to have as precise of clutch and throttle control. The gearing, the front sprocket is still stock, 14. The rear is, I believe, 48. One smaller than stock, meaning more top speed and less low speed acceleration. So not ideal for tight trail riding, but in first gear, it's still low enough to do most of the technical stuff here that I've tried in Arizona. For hard enduro, I'd still want something, probably go one smaller on the front and one bigger on the rear to get really low speed, tight technical gearing so you don't have to slip the clutch constantly. So who is this for? Well, I would say it depends on how much weight you're adding to the flywheel and the type of riding that you're doing. If you're a trail rider, casual trail rider like me, you want better traction, you want to get rid of some of that snappiness, but still want good power, this is a good mod. It's cheap, it's really easy to do. You can do it in 20-30 minutes, and it makes a noticeable difference right away. I would say as far as how much weight to go, I went with 11 ounces. For trail riding, I wouldn't do any less than that. I'm glad I didn't go with 9 ounces. I would even consider 13 ounces, but I believe you need that stator cover spacer or bigger stator cover to fit it in there. But maybe if you're doing motocross and you feel like you want better traction, you're riding muddy terrain a lot, having a 9-ounce flywheel might help. But for trail riding, this is definitely a good mod to do, especially on the motocross bike version of the YZ250 two-stroke. But if you're struggling with constantly stalling, you should check out this video here because it shows you a couple simple tricks on how to improve clutch control at low speed, because that is super critical for riding tight or technical trails if you want to have confidence. I'm Kelly Figge from MXHideout. Ride safe, have fun.